Welcome back. As always, be sure to leave a comment, tell me how I can improve myself. I'm always looking for improvement, and your comment helps out a ton. Also, be sure to check out my other channel, YC Games. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So, obviously, I'm not a review channel. I don't really plan on becoming a review channel. This is just a special thing for this game because this is the first game in a long time that I've been really excited for. And now that it's finally out, I just want to talk about it. Now, this will be a spoiler-free review. I will not cover anything story-related specifically. I will kind of just talk about very broadly about it, but I will not ruin anything, so you are safe there. If you have not picked it up yet, I might make a spoiler review just because it is kind of fun to talk about all the stuff that happened, and hear other people what their opinions on what happened in the story. So I might make that later, but that is not this video. And yeah, let's get right into it. Now, if you know really anything about Spider-Man, this universe that we play in, it's different in a lot of ways. A lot of characters are playing different parts. It's definitely Insomniac made this their own version of Spider-Man, but it's never so different as the off-putting. It's definitely very familiar and yet foreign at the same time, and I really feel like they did a really good job of setting up this universe, especially if they plan on what it sounds like they are planning on doing, is kind of making their own, kind of like what they did with the Marvel movies, the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe, doing the same thing but with video games. And that sounds ambitious, and I thought they were crazy for trying it at first, but if anyone can pull it off, it's Marvel, and this is definitely a very good start. This game is a perfect introduction into that idea. Now, it is a Spider-Man game, don't get me wrong. There's no huge branching things like, oh, you help Iron Man here, you deal with Captain America over here. No, this is a purely Spider-Man story, this is a purely Spider-Man game. But there are references, obviously Avengers Tower's on the map, a bunch of other Marvel references are here. This is definitely a Spider-Man that lives in the Marvel universe with other heroes. And while it is a Spider-Man story, and Spider-Man is the focus, I can definitely see the potential to branch out into other interconnected games and stories and whatnot in the future. Now, it's kind of what they did with Iron Man, way back in the day when they first started the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was just Iron Man. They made a couple references here and there, but it was an Iron Man story, and this is kind of what they're doing here. This is the first step into that huge branching, Marvel video game universe. And it's a great start. This is a good idea if they can pull it off, and I was really skeptical when I heard they were first doing that, but after seeing what they did here, I can definitely see the potential now, and I'm really looking forward now to that Avengers title if it ever comes out. That was teased at God knows how long ago. Now, the combat in this game, starting off, it's great, and you're about to see that here while I take out this base. But it's exactly what I expected, yet at the same time, it surprised me. Now, obviously, and you'll see in a second, it's very Arkham-esque, which any game like this, you're going to be compared to Arkham because Arkham just did an amazing job way back when doing it. But this is much more acrobatic, because Spider-Man's a much more acrobatic hero than Batman. And obviously the webs play a huge part in it as well. Now, you'll see it for yourself here in a second, but all I can really say is I enjoy it. It's great. The introduction of different, you can use the environment, all the web gadgets, just your webs in general. It's great. Instead of just punching the crap out of someone until they get some mist, you can knock them on the ground, you can web them to the ground, you can web them up, throw them around, you can web them to a wall. It's so much, it's great. You don't just punch people until they can't punch you back anymore. There's actually just somewhat tactical behind it. Now, I was afraid that, just like in the Arkham game, eventually I got sick of combat. It was just felt like the same thing over and over again. You just punch till you hit a dodge, and you punch till you hit a dodge. And obviously they introduced different kinds of enemies to kind of mix it up. But with this game, I never really felt that. Just the difference of webs and all the suit powers and all the environment. Every fight, it was essentially the same thing. I never felt like it got repetitive because there's so many different ways I could go about combat that I could personally change it up if I wanted to. Now, obviously, probably the easiest tactic is just hitting someone to the ground, webbing while they're on the ground. I do that a lot because, like I said, that's probably the easiest tactic. But if I don't want to do that anymore, I could just punch them till they couldn't punch me back. I could just use the environment. It gave a lot of options to mix up yourself. You don't have to, obviously. If you want the easy route, you can just web to everything in sight. But if you want the diversity and you want it to be different, like I personally do after a while, it's great that it has all those options to do that. Now yes, there is stealth in this game, which I really don't know why. I mean, it's kind of cool every once in a while. I'm not personally a fan of stealth games. Just not my cup of tea. I can see how someone could like it, but I never really liked it. But I do like how stealth is approached sometimes in this game. Now, when you're Spider-Man, approaching a fight, kind of like I did when I first started this fight, you know, you saw me on the girders, I could, you know, web them up all secretive, and I did for a little bit until I got bored, and I just wanted to go down and punch everyone. Because that's how I like. I enjoy the combat in this game so much that I just kind of ignore the stealth whenever I can. So it is enjoyable. It's very simple, and it's not bad for a while. But like I said, that's just not how I like to play games. And I'm glad that in every situation as Spider-Man, you were given the option. You were never forced to stealth. Except in the exception of one story mission I can think of. But anyway, yeah, any combat situation, it's never you're caught, up, busted, you gotta restart. Unfortunately, there are a couple sections where you do play as MJ, and those you have to stealth. And those are obviously, you get caught, dunzo, which I don't like. I hate forced stealth sections. They're not really difficult. You can get through them pretty easily, but that's just not how I like to play, and I'm never really a fan when I'm forced to play a certain play style. So, yeah, there's that grievance, but there's really only like 3 or 4 missions like that I can think of. It's not a lot, but it's enough that, and I failed enough at them that I was like, okay, I really don't want to do this shit. But they weren't terrible. I'll be honest right now, I typically don't play a video game for the story. In my opinion, gameplay will always trump story. But here actually the story's pretty good. It's not great. I'm sure obviously people who analyze that kind of shit will say, oh, well, they should have done whatever. But it was enjoyable. There's a few twists that some were obvious, some were amazing. There are a lot of moments were just mind-blowing. Like there's a lot of cool story moments, but the story as a whole was alright. I enjoyed it. It was a very enjoyable experience. It was a very enjoyable story. But I don't know. I can just see how people have problems with it, because people have problems with everything. Characters, on the other hand, were a different story. I enjoyed most of the characters. A few were wasted. I'm not really gonna say in particular who, but a few characters definitely should have had more anything to do with the story. There's just a few were left out. Like I said, if I make a spoiler review, then I'll probably say which characters I thought needed more time. But yeah, for now I'll just say a couple of them they could have done more with. The pacing felt a little weird, in my opinion. I mean, I usually don't, like I said, I'm not like an analyst of that stuff. I can't tell you how fast something should be going or whatever, but it definitely felt weird at times, like how nothing was going on, and all of a sudden, no crap, everything's going on at once. Especially at one point in the story in particular. Plus, and this is just a really weird thing, after some story missions, there'd be like a little break where, you know, you're obviously supposed to do stuff around the city. And I thought that was a great idea, you know, encourage to do side stuff. But it only lasted like maybe a minute, then okay, now you can do the main story again. I didn't see the point in that. I mean, it's great that they encourage side stuff, but I feel like they should have either encouraged it more or not even bothered, because it didn't do much. Like, it really didn't force you to do anything. I could have just swung around for half a minute and then okay, now let's go to the next main story bit. Another thing that kind of annoyed me about the story, and this is, I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it is showing whatever suit you want in a cutscene. Now, I'm glad they did it, because it is definitely off-putting whenever I have like whatever outfit on and then it goes to a cutscene and it's different in games. I don't like that. I prefer whatever outfit I like to always be present. However, I have a problem with it because some of the suits acquired later are a little goofier, I guess. And to me, I think it's awesome, and those are the suits I like to wear. But then in a serious cutscene, it just ruined all illusion in a serious moment. I remember a couple in particular. It was a very serious moment, and I was wearing just the dumbest suit, and it ruined everything. All immersion was broken. I just could not take it seriously, and it did ruin the cutscene for me, which is a shame because it was a really cool cutscene if I wasn't looking at my character. And that's just a problem. I realize there's nothing they could do about it other than me just not being an idiot, but I don't know. I know it's my own fault, and I'm not blaming the game for it, but just be warned, if you want to really fully experience the story, wear not necessarily the main suit, but just wear a serious suit.
Nice composition.
There is a lot of side stuff to do in this game. This gameplay is strictly of just side stuff I'm doing. There's the landmark photos, there's the different random crimes that take place, there's the bases to clear, which is one of the first things I did in this gameplay. Backpacks to find, there's little black cat hideouts to find later. I know I'm missing a few, but I can't think of any. Taskmaster challenges. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. Anyway, just know there's a lot of side stuff to do, and all of them give you tokens to upgrade stuff. It's a neat system. I'm not against it because it encourages you to do different things to unlock different things. But yeah, that's all I'll say about that. It's a good system. It works. I have no complaints about it. It's not really anything amazing or spectacular or whatever. It exists. It's there. It's serviceable, I guess. Now, the one thing I do have a complaint about is the puzzles. Now, one of the ways to unlock the research tokens are the different puzzles to do by doing little research things. They're just dumb. They're not hard. There's just really no point to them. The reward isn't that great. You get some XP, and every once in a while some reward tokens from them. You're forced to do them a couple times in the story, and to be honest, that's the only times I even did them, because it's not worth it. Now I saved swinging for the end of the video, because it is probably my favorite part of the game. It's exactly what I would have hoped for. And that's saying a lot. I mean, I'll be honest, the only Spider-Man game I really played before this was Spider-Man 2 back on the PS2. I've played a couple other ones along the way, but obviously that's the one I really remember. So there's a lot of shoes to fill, and I can honestly say it really did good. It's not, I guess, I don't know, it's definitely different from that swinging system. Even just regular stringing, if you get rid of all the tricks and all the zips and point launches, just regular swinging, R2 swinging, it definitely feels different, but that's not a problem. It's exactly what I wanted the swinging to be, and it is as good as everyone says it is. I was really afraid that people were just blowing smoke like, oh, finally we get a good physics-based system, it has to be amazing. It really is amazing. They did a great job. Obviously, this is the thing they probably spent the most time on getting right, and they definitely got it right. I am glad to say that they did a great job. My only complaint about it is that they included different tricks you could set off manually, which is great. I love that. But there's only like 3 or 4 of them you can do. So I don't know if they plan on adding that in DLC or something, but yeah, if they ever make a sequel to this game, that's something they gotta add more of, is more tricks. Or even just in some random update, add more tricks, because it just kind of felt weird to even include, like, it's even include manual tricks, and yet only have 3 of them. It felt weird. That's all I really gotta say about that. It's a great game. Obviously, I'm not a review channel. Take that however you want. But I think it's amazing. Definitely worth the money and time. And if it says anything, I am not one to marathon a single game. I'll play a game, or I'll play video games like for a full weekend, but I have to switch between like 4 or 5 every couple hours because I get bored. I played this game straight like 2 days. So that's saying something about how great this game is that I did play it like for as long as I physically could stand without just passing out from falling asleep. And I don't do that with any other game. I have to switch it up games, but this game I stuck with for a very long time. So that's just saying how great of a game it is. Yeah, that about does it. I actually have a lot of theories about what they could do with a sequel and stuff, so I'll probably make another video about that. If you guys have played the game, and want me to make a spoiler review just so I can get, you want to hear my opinion, or we can talk about opinions, then yeah, tell me in the comments. Tell me a comment about any other improvements I can make or any other videos you have in mind. Yeah, that about does it. See y'all in the next one. Keep your stick on the ice. We're all in this together.